Have a little look at these, where we're going to go with this financial solver and how it applies to us in this SL course of ours. So we're moving on from compound interest now. We've had a little play with the finance solver. We're going to be doing this annuity, which is a technical word, but it's probably worth, instead of really worrying too much, I suppose I've got a definition here, so let's have a little look. We've got a fixed sum payable at specified intervals, usually annually over a period such as the recipient's life, in return for a premium paid either in instalments, let's undo that, either in instalments or a single payment. So a little going on, but it's the fixed sum, I suppose, that I would concentrate on at specified intervals. I think it's worth delving into a question and then kind of looking back and seeing that that makes sense. So let's look at this first question that I've got from our textbook. Anmol decides to save for a yacht. He would like to have 1 million Turkish lira. At the end of 10 years, he saves every year in an annuity that pays 4% interest. Calculate how much he has to save each year. So we've got our finance solver, which we can see here. Let's just open it up. So doc, and I want a new doc. Add calculator, and we want finance solver. So we need to establish and figure out what values that we're going to have for this. Now, n, I would say, would be this 10, the number of years. So n is, we're going to put in as 10. The percentage interest, well, that's going to be 4. What are we looking for? We're looking for the future value. I think we also know the future value. So FV, it has to be, because he needs 1 million of these Turkish liras, 1 million. And let's just have a look at it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all the information that we know. The question is then, how much does he have to save each year, and which box does that refer to? Now that's going to refer to, for the first time, we're going to use this PMT box. And now it tells us on the calculator that that's payment, so the PMT is our unknown. That's what we're trying to work out. So let's put it into here. So we've got n is 10, we've got interest rate of 4, present value, well, that is 0. So perhaps I should have said that, but it's there anyway. Present value has got to be 0 because he's starting with nothing. He wants to get it up to 1 million. So it might be worth me just writing in here PV is equal to 0. Payment's what we're trying to calculate, and the future value we know is 1 million. So the payment is what we want, so we're going to hit enter. We've got to scroll up to that box, hit enter, and it tells us that he needs to save. So the negative is how much he's outputting in order to achieve the million. So the negative is something I'm going to kind of ignore for now, because it's kind of implicit in what we're saying. So it's 83,290, 83,290. And because it's money, I'm going to go to 2 decimal places, 94p. So that's how much he needs to save per year. So that's our answer. I'm going to underline that one. Okay, let's have a little look at another one then. Trintji, sorry if I pronounced that wrong for the Trintjis out there listening, has been left with an annuity of 5,000 euros in a will. The annuity is for 5 years at 8% per annum to be paid out monthly. Oh, so a slight change in here, monthly. Find the monthly payments. Okay, what do we know? Now, N. We know that it's going to be 5 years. So the temptation here is to put in 5 for N. However, what I'm going to suggest we do is, because we know it's 5 years and it's paid out monthly, why don't we make this 5 times 12? The number of payments every month, 12 months for 5 years, is going to be 5 times 12. So that's obviously going to be 60. The interest, 8% per annum. Now remember, what we're doing is we're working in monthly. So I'm going to have to adjust that as well. So if it's 8 per year, if we want to change it to per month, we need to do 8 divided by 12, which is equal to 2/3. What else do we know? We know our present value, it's got to be 5,000. The payment is what we're going to establish, PMT. It's got to be, that's our unknown, so we're going to hit enter on that box and that cell in a minute. The future value is going to go down to 0. So that's going to be 0. So if I put all of this into my TI-nspire now, 60, 2/3, 5,000, this one I don't know, and the future value I want to be as 0. The payment is now what I'm calculating. So how is that payment split equally over the duration of this? It's going to be at 101.38. So our answer, monthly payments that Trinity is going to get is 101, it's euros this one, 101.38. Okay, and we're making good progress in this. So I suppose the key difference now is previously when we were doing compound interest, we didn't have this cell here, the payment, whereas in these last two examples, that payment is exactly what I'm trying to establish. Now, there's another fancy word, amortization, and I'm not sure about the emphasis, but again, best way to look at it is to look at an example and see how it works. So Tejas takes out a loan of 35,000 euros for a car. The loan is for 10 years at 1% interest per month. Find out how much he has to repay each month. So amortization, it's going to work the other way. I think, again, what I'll do is I'll write out the values that we know, NI, PV, PMT, FV. Okay, and let's just have a look at what else we need to put in here. So we're looking for monthly again, so the N is going to be 10 years times 12 months, so that's going to be 10 years times 12, so I'm going to put in 120. The interest, now this is an interesting one because it's actually already calculated as 1% interest per month. So I've got to be careful about that. But because I'm working in months, and it's worth writing out, the interest here is going to be 1. Present value, well, that's the value of the loan. So that's going to be 35,000. Future value is going to go down to 0, and so the payment, that's what I want to find out. So I'm going to hit enter on that cell. So let's go for this. We've got 120, interest is 1, present value is 35,000, future value is 0. I need to delete this, and it should give me my amount that I need to pay each month, which is 502.15 euros. 502.15 euros. I've rounded that figure up into 2 decimal places because it's money. So that in a nutshell is what we're going to be looking at. All of this next step is all about establishing what this payment is, whether it's that you're repaying, whether it's that you're getting money, and that's all the difference really is between the two words, and that's what we're going to have a little practice at next.